Hi guys, welcome to the Fighters channel. How dramatically the appearance of the most prestigious weight category of professional boxing has changed. A few months ago, the world was in anticipation of a super fight for the status of the absolute world champion between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, but suddenly Alexander Usyk came on the scene and instantly upset all the multi-million-dollar plans of Eddie Hearn and other figures who dreamed of breaking a big jackpot on the battle of the two Britons. Usyk on the night of Saturday to Sunday in London at Tottenham Stadium beat Joshua by unanimous decision of the judges and returned to Ukraine those four belts: WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO that had belonged to Wladimir Klitschko for many years. So what does the heavyweight look like after Usyk's triumph in the United Kingdom capital? And what awaits heavyweight in the foreseeable future? Is Joshua capable of taking revenge from Usyk? Two pertinent questions arise. Will Joshua be able to win a rematch? And should he even agree to a second duel with Usyk? As for the second question, Anthony really has no choice, but after that 12th round boxing lesson that Usyk organized for Joshua in London, the answer to the first question should be negative, unless the Briton makes serious adjustments to his plan for the fight. Many doubted Joshua's ability to take immediate revenge on the Ruiz after losing by knockout in the summer of 2019. But Anthony changed it and, 6 months later, in a rational style, defeated his abuser by unanimous decision. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you really enjoy the content, then please subscribe to my channel and keep watching the videos. If you are subscribed, then you receive notifications about the release of new videos. You do not even have to look for anything personally. I really want to get 10,000 subscribers on my channel. I'm trying very hard, absolutely every day, and I need your support. Your likes, comments, reposts to social networks. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to my channel. You are my support. Thank you so much. The problem for Joshua is that Usyk is far from Ruiz. The Mexican once caught a self-confident champion and brought it to knockout, but he didn't beat him for 12 rounds. Usyk, due to his boxing intelligence, incredible footwork and brilliant hand speed, organized a 36-minute masterclass for Joshua and almost put a fat dot in the end of the final round. If Joshua wants to get the titles back into his own hands, then he will have to give up any idea of competing with Usyk in the art of boxing. His chance to win is brute physical strength. Joshua has to turn into a beast and hunt from Usyk's head in the opening rounds, catch the champion with a powerful blow, then there will be a chance. Otherwise, Usyk after the quarter of the fight will crush the tyrant. And we remember that Joshua already had problems with emptying the gas tank after his own attacks, Britain with pace, and eventually finished the fight ahead of schedule in the style of his victory over Marco Huck. And what will happen in the third fight between Fury and Wilder? The next key date for the heavyweight is October 9. On this day in Las Vegas, Tyson Fury will hold the third defense of the WBC title in a fight with the former owner of the green belt, Deontay Wilder. The fact that Fury and Wilder are on different planets in terms of skill and boxing IQ became obvious in the first fight, and in the rematch, the Briton just crushed the puncher from Alabama. But you can't ignore a man who has 31 knockouts and 44 fights. Wilder changed his coach after the first defeat in his career and started working with Malik Scott. The American is well aware that in the third fight with Fury, he will need to do a lot of more preparatory work in order to finally plant the head of Gypsy King on his killer right hand. Jabs, body punches, all this Wilder must do if he doesn't want to leave the ring empty-handed again. Tyson Fury remains a big favorite for the third fight with Deontay Wilder, but this is still the fight that can go according to any scenario. What's next for the loser in the Wilder-Fury fight? It is clear to everyone with the winner. He will strive to keep the WBC title in his hands He will strive to keep the WBC title in his hands and wait for that denouement in the confrontation between Usyk and Joshua in order to eventually go out to fight for the status of the absolute world champion in heavyweight. But where will the loser go? If Joshua had defeated the Ukrainian, then he would have had 2 fights with Fury. Would the public be interested in a duel between 2 losers, Usyk and Wilder? Unlikely. Even a potential intriguing fight with Dillian Whyte would not look so bright for Wilder after the 2nd defeat in a row. But if Joshua loses to Usyk again, then the fight between Anthony and Wilder can still be a grand event, despite a trailing trail of defeats for two crazy punchers who once could have won all the heavyweight titles will enter the ring to save their careers. Sounds very intriguing, don't you agree? Joshua versus Fury for the status of the absolute. Is this fight finally dead? Even when Joshua was facing in a fight with an undefeated fighter, a former absolute world champion and cruiserweight, and winner of Olympic gold, almost all the talk was centered around the fight with Fury for all the heavyweight titles. Fury went even farther and directly said who his rivals would be in the next 5 fights. And for 2022, Tyson's plans included 2 fights with Joshua. Usyk foiled at all plans in an instant. Now Joshua is tied to a rematch with Usyk, a rematch in which he will already be an outsider. And if Anthony loses again, then it will be finally possible to put a fat cross on the fight of 2 Britons for the title of absolute world champion. Yes, Fury and Joshua can fight even if all the heavyweight titles are not at stake. But how intriguing will this fight be if Anthony loses to Usyk in a rematch? Fury's boxing IQ is comparable to Usyk's, only Tyson is 15 centimeters taller. What kind of Joshua victory are we talking about? And what about the other applicants? Yeah, the heavyweight division is not only a quartet consisting of Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. The leader of the rest of the pack is Dillian Whyte, who in a rematch with Alexander Povetkin returned to his hands the temporary WBC belt. Body Snatcher has been potentially waiting for its title chance for several years. Perhaps he will get it at the end of the year. Fury hinted that after defeating Wilder, he is ready to return to England in December for the first time since 2018 and conduct a mandatory title defense. Fury's defeat will probably put Whyte away from the championship fight again, but Dillian has become much closer to a rematch with Joshua, even without titles at stake. This fight will easily gather a full stadium due to the bright background. Do not forget about Joe Joyce, who had to fight with Usyk for the status of a mandatory WBO contender before Wilder did not disrupt the fight between Joshua and Fury. It is possible that it is Joyce who will become Usyk's next opponent if Alexander confirms the victory over Joshua in February-March 2022. Meanwhile, Andy Ruiz plans to fight Charles Martin or Luis Ortiz by the end of the year. The Briton added that he intends to exercise his right to an immediate rematch with Usyk. It was a boxing match, a good 12th round match, a good experience. I have disappointed the people who support me. There are other people who probably think I should have used a different plan for the fight. In the end, he won and I lost. I will start everything from scratch, be active and immerse myself in work. In the rematch, I will do a few things differently. When you are in the ring, you feel different. I know for sure that I can improve some aspects. Maybe he will get better too, so the next fight will be phenomenal. I have no doubts about the rematch at all. This is a great chance to become a 3-time world champion. This is a real blessing, so I want to grab this opportunity with both hands, Joshua said. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.